the return to glory.
Did we just see what we think we just saw?
If that doesn't give you chills, you're never going to get them.
As good as it gets.
You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. From scenic Albuquerque, New Mexico tonight, it's the USL Championship as New Mexico United plays host to the Oakland Roots. Wonderful and beautiful scenes in the wonderful state of New Mexico as we look at the Western Conference standings. New Mexico have already clinched a playoff berth. They're trying to track down Sacramento for that coveted number 2 seed. The Oakland Roots saw their playoff hopes dashed midweek due to an Orange County win over San Antonio. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody, alongside Ricky Lopez, Aspen, and our entire crew. Sean St. Jacques, happy to have you with us tonight. And you look at this game, Ricky, this matchup, two completely different motivations for these two clubs. New Mexico trying to improve their seeding in the playoffs. Oakland trying to play for pride, playing for contracts.
The mentality of this game is completely different for both of these sides. For this Oakland Roots side, you're not going to be in the playoffs, so you're playing for contracts, you're playing for pride, and you're playing for that competitive spirit, what it means to be an Oakland Roots player. While this New Mexico side, you want to get number 2 in the Western Conference, because if you do that, you play at home in front of the Lab, and this is such a hostile environment.
Yeah, no questions about that. We're excited to get another taste of the Lab here today. And as of late, New Mexico have really been keying in the right direction to get into this spot to potentially go for the number 2 seed. 5 wins over their last 11.
What we've seen with Dennis Sanchez, he's starting to press the right buttons, and more importantly, he's starting to figure out the players that are growing in terms of their relationships. The attacking players are having the ability to express themselves, and off the ball, they've been really difficult to break down. Dennis Sanchez has done a great job as of late with New Mexico United.
United have really turned their season around. There's a lot of leaders in Dennis Sanchez's squad, most notably Talon Maples.
Talon Maples, he's one of, if not the best center back in all of USL Championship. Yes, you talk about his defensive ability in terms of his 1v1 ability, but he's also very comfortable with the ball at his feet, that he can break lines, and when he's from 12 yards out, he's almost automatic. A clean sheet here at home for New Mexico will be the top priority.
On the other side of things, for Oakland, of course, Benny Feilhaber, known, of course, for his exploits with the U.S. men's national team and in MLS. He's been building a foundation with his Oakland team. Not good enough for the playoffs this year, but you feel the future is bright.
What we've seen with Benny Feilhaber in terms of the eye test, there's a clear identity, right? This Oakland Roots side, they want to get on the ball, they want to slow the game down, and they want to progress between the lines, and he's giving them a little bit more confidence going forward. But what's really hindered the success under Benny Feilhaber has been really silly defensive mistakes and naive defending.
What helps in building a foundation, though, is a really prolific goal scorer, and there's been none better as of late than Peter Wilson.
Peter Wilson has just been fantastic as of late for the Oakland Roots, and it all comes down to his movement, the ability to peel off his individual marker in terms of the blind side, but also the timing to arrive in around that 18-yard box, especially on the road in this hostile environment. Service into Peter Wilson will be really important for the success of the Oakland Roots.
Peter Wilson is right in the mix in the Golden Boot conversation in the USL Championship as Oakland try to put a bit of a roadblock in front of New Mexico's chances of getting to that number 2 seed in the upcoming Western Conference playoffs. We will have the kickoff from the Lab coming up after the break. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Closing in on kickoff here on CBS Sports Network as New Mexico United plays host to the Oakland Roots. Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez-Espin, our entire crew, happy to have you with us. Ricky, we look into the starting lineups here, starting with Dennis Sanchez and the host, New Mexico.
4-2-3-1 formation for Dennis Sanchez. You have to look at that middle three. Valentin Noel is going to have the freedom to go and search the game, and doing that, Zico Bailey will be a bit more box-to-box. Zelalem will stay at home as that single pivot. If they can get influential, if they can get on a rhythm, that allows that front three to be really aggressive and really attack-minded, because on the other side for Benny Feilhaber, a team that just wants to get at you. Peter Wilson, Danny Trejo, the potent attack for the Oakland Roots, understanding as Batash, Gibson, and Gomez have had a really difficult time at finding the balance in between them. For this Benny Feilhaber side, you need to stay compact, you need to keep everything in front of you, and that will be the foundation for your side to try to go out and search a result.
We mentioned earlier the two different motivations for these two squads, but these are also two squads going in different directions form-wise at this juncture of the season. New Mexico are 5 matches unbeaten, 7 of their last 8 unbeaten as well. Oakland have 1 win in their last 12 and are 7 games without a win coming in to this lab trip tonight. New Mexico get us started. They're going from right to left here on CBS Sports Network in all black with the yellow trim. Oakland are in their Coliseum whites with the green and the yellow shoulders. Again, Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez-Espin, our entire crew. Pleasure to have you with us here for this Western Conference tilt. New Mexico United have their sights set on that number 2 seed in the Western Conference playoffs, which could potentially give them an additional home playoff game here at the Lab when the playoffs begin in November. Oakland's playoff hopes were dashed earlier this week. They're hoping to play a bit of a role as spoiler in this game, playing for pride, playing for next season as well in spots on this Benny Feilhaber-led side. And on top of all of that, one of their players in Peter Wilson, or one of our players to watch, I should say, is trying to win the Golden Boot. That would be a heck of a silver lining at the end of what has, in the end, been a bit of a disappointing season for the Roots.
I had a really good conversation with Benny Feilhaber, and we asked about Peter Wilson. He was very open, he was very honest, saying he's the best striker in championship. Just his movement to come to feet, to also spin in behind, can do a little bit of everything, and he's going to be a big focal point for the Roots, especially here on the road.
Oakland will reset at the back. Gagi to Camden Riley on this near side, and Oakland loops it over the top. Nobody there. And Chris Shakes, who gets the starting goal for New Mexico, lets it roll out for a goal kick. First-year head coach Dennis Sanchez, who of course led the Las Vegas Lights to the Western Conference Final last season. We talked with him earlier this week, and he said that New Mexico are treating today's game and their final game next week here against Rhode Island as if they are playoff games here at the end of the regular season. He wants to see the form continue. He wants them to build some momentum in what they hope will be a deep playoff run at the end of the regular season.
Just taking a step back and looking at 2025 for this New Mexico side, Dennis Sanchez has glimpses of how good that they can be, but not on a consistent basis. They went through a really difficult stretch in the middle part of the season, but since then they've done a great job at just galvanizing the troops and doing everything as one.
On the Oakland Roots side of the ledger, they are led by a U.S. men's national team legend as a player, Sporting Kansas City legend in MLS, and Benny Feilhaber did coach in MLS Next Pro at SKC2. It's his 20th match in charge of the Roots today.
Essentially is what Benny Feilhaber wants this game to be, won and lost for the Oakland Roots. So specifically, Danny Gomez and Tyler Gibson, watch out here. Need to be very clean in moments like that when trying to play out of the back, because New Mexico is going to press.
Ball's played back for Caleb Riding, who's just been a wonderful servant to this club in New Mexico. It's going to be his last season. He announced his retirement not too long ago at the end of this season. So more motivation for New Mexico to finish the regular season and, from their point of view, the playoffs on a high note. Valentin Noel tried to slither that through. Riley picks it off. Wilson's hold-up play was pretty good. However, he was in an offside position, and it's a free kick for New Mexico.
A glimpse of the relationship between Danny Trejo and Peter Wilson. Peter Wilson's going to come to feet. Danny Trejo is going to run in behind. So for this back line of New Mexico, as you take a look at the Golden Boot race, Peter Wilson, second half of the season, arguably the best player in all of the league.
Peter Wilson has scored 12 goals in his last 11 appearances for Oakland. 6 games in a row with a goal as well. That is knocking on the door of making some league history.
Just going back to the point about the two center backs for New Mexico. As Peter Wilson gets on the ball, you need to be proactive at someone dropping off and providing a little bit of coverage. The last thing that you can have happen is both players get caught flat-footed because Danny Trejo will run in behind.
Chris Gloucester on the near side for New Mexico. Ooh, he gives the ball away, and Peter Wilson could profit here. He plays it square, and it's cut out at the last moment. Oakland could still profit from this situation. Matash lays it off edge of the area, and the chance, oh, it's deflected off the post. The volley is off the post again. 2 tries for Oakland, and the frame thwarts the Roots on both occasions. Somehow Chris Shakes and New Mexico get out of it. Now Trejo tries. Lays it off for Al-Masnawi. Trejo cutting in field, he's dragged down. And the referee's gonna point in the opposite direction here. John Griggs gives a free kick to New Mexico. I'll talk about a couple of warning shots for New Mexico's defense.
Bit casual. When trying to play out of the back for New Mexico, you need to be cleaner, you need to be a bit more decisive. And it's a really good start for the Oakland Roots within turning their defense into offense. So you talk about the mentality for Benny Feilhaber. He needs to be pleased with that first action.
It's Holland Maples, who we highlighted in the open. He's been so strong in multiple facets of this New Mexico setup. Just tell how much Dennis Sanchez trusts him as one of the leaders of this group. See there, the last time these two teams met was all the way back on May 24th. New Mexico won at the Coliseum by 3-0. Harris, great ball across, touched away by Neville Hackshaw. Harris recovers it for Gloucester. Bailey. Back for Gloucester. Couple of quick 1-2s with Zelalem. Ryden had to search for it there. Decides to go all the way back to Chris Shakes. He had to make a couple of big stops for New Mexico with the aid of the frame. Maples under pressure here. Just about keeps it in play. Maples up ahead. Oh, it's brilliant from Akale. And Akale tried to slide in Hurst. It falls kindly for Kendall McIntosh.
Just looking at this front three for New Mexico, they just complement each other extremely well. Greg Hurst, very comfortable dropping underneath, which allows Harris to be more vertical, and Akale comfortable coming centrally to combine. But one thing that is very important to really note, that once they do break a line, they're going to go, and they're going to go very quick. That's the confidence that Dennis Sanchez instills with his players. Good ball here.
Chance for the Roots here to break in transition. Threaded through for Danny Trejo, who forces the save out of Shakes. Couple of really good looks for the Roots, but they cannot get it past the New Mexico goalkeeper yet. Danny Trejo again. With defenders around him, he goes to ground. Nothing doing there. Zelalem clears away. Hackshaw. Roots reset near the halfway line. Get into that pocket of space for Gibson. It's clipped into the middle of the penalty area for Wilson, who's holding his head. It rolls out of play here. Referee will stop this for a possible head injury. Oakland, I think, are pleading here for a penalty. Wilson will be looked after.
Since Danny Trejo has gotten healthy for the Oakland Roots, he has changed the complexion on how they attack with his mobility. Great run as Keller gets pulled out of position. Now he splits the center backs, and that is a great save from Shakes coming across, but right side of your screen, Peter Wilson playing in between Gloucester and Kalen Ryden. There was a little bit of contact there from Gloucester, but would have been extremely harsh for John Griggs to point to 12 yards out. Need to be a bit smarter, though, if you are Chris Gloucester, trying to get goal side of the striker. The last thing that you want to have happen is to get caught in anything silly.
You just saw there, this is Danny Trejo's 100th appearance in the regular season in the USL Championship across 4 clubs, most notably known, of course, for his time with Phoenix, who won the championship back in 2023 under head coach Juan Guerra. Wilson hopefully will be okay here for Oakland. Walks off the field at the moment.
Have to give credit to John Griggs as well. It's really good refereeing. Potential head injury, you have to stop play immediately. Top priority is the health of every single one of these players.
We restart with New Mexico in possession. Zalalem flips it over to the far side. It's touched forward by Maples. Zalalem out for Akale. Now Bailey, and Bailey is fouled by Al-Masnawi. Free kick. It certainly has been a bright start for Oakland. A couple of close calls already. Chris Shakes needing the aid of the frame twice, making another big save on Danny Trejo. Of course, we have seen Oakland get off to strong starts before. It's whether or not they can sustain it over a 90-minute period consistently.
Something that Dennis Sanchez highlighted in our conversation, saying that the Oakland Roots have done a good job at taking the lead, but where they've struggled is just to maintain that lead. And Benny Fairharbor will be the first to raise his hand and say that has really hindered our success at trying to have any hopes of making the playoffs. In a league with so much talent, so much parity, and the ruthlessness of championship, if you have the ability to go up, you need to hold on to it.
Look there, no wins in the last 5. It's actually extended over a 7-game period for Oakland, who actually do have more road wins than home wins this season by the 4 road victories in this campaign. Just 3 home victories at the Coliseum. Not sure many had that on their USL Championship bingo card at the start of the season. As Harris tries an outside of the boot pass, he recovers it here for New Mexico. This is Makwele Akale, he scores! That's a wonderfully taken goal from Makwele Akale. He lights up the lab and gives New Mexico the lead.
Just so good in terms of his 1v1 ability, Akale. But give credit to Harris. As he puts this ball in, he's the first to react and keeps this ball alive. But notice how Makwele Akale just slows himself down. Now as Kai Green is squared, Makwele has him at his mercy. He can go inside, he can go outside. Notice the hips, and that touch right there. It's see you, it's gone, and it's spawned into the bottom corner. And New Mexico, against a run of play, have the lead here in front of their fans.
3rd league goal of the season for Makwele Akale to go along with 6 assists in this campaign. Talk about a sucker punch for the Roots, and New Mexico jumps out on top for now. But here comes Peter Wilson up the other end, closed down by Shakes. Oakland nearly find a swift reply.
Good pocket of space for Batash. Just a little bit too heavy in the ball for Peter Wilson, but that is the type of movements that you need to expect from Peter Wilson. Ryden gets caught ball watching. He's going to peel off the shoulder and really test the shape of New Mexico.
Oakland still have a corner to work with here. Tyler Gibson's delivery. Oh, it goes over everyone's head. Gagi cannot track it down. Zico Bailey has it for New Mexico, but Gagi wins it back from him. Still Gagi, he goes down, and the referee gives Oakland a penalty. Gagi never gave up on it for the Roots. He's tripped inside the 18-yard box, and Oakland will get a chance to equalize in double quick time.
It starts with a really poor decision from Zico Bailey, trying to dribble out of pressure and trying to nutmeg Gagi. There's just no need when you're in defensive half, but give credit to Gagi as well to continue to push the tempo, and it's just a bit clumsy from Zico Bailey. Left leg catches the right heel of Gagi. There certainly is contact as Gagi goes down. What an opportunity and response this is for the Oakland Roots within the first 15 minutes here.
Now, any guesses on who's going to take the penalty? It's been the man who's been in excellent form for Oakland, as good as anybody's been in the USL Championship. Peter Wilson with 15 goals this season. If he scores, he will be tied at the top of the Golden Boot race and equalize for Oakland. It's Peter Wilson, and he's just inevitable. Peter Wilson's 16th USL Championship goal of the season ties the game at 1, ties him up with the likes of Cal Jennings and MD Myers at the top of the Golden Boot chase.
With quote-unquote nothing to play for the Oakland Roots, just speaks volumes about the culture and the mentality that Benny Feilhaber has been able to create here. Gagi does a fantastic job at continuing to push the tempo. There's contact from Zico Bailey clearly, and Peter Wilson, cool as you would like. The run-up is everything here. As he approaches this ball with a lot of aggression, keeps his shoulders over it, closes up his hips, so there's no chance that it goes up and over the crossbar. Fantastic pen, 1-1 within the first 20 minutes.
7th game in a row with a goal for Peter Wilson. It's his 13th in his last 12 appearances in the USL Championship. And Oakland, very quickly indeed, have tied the game at 1. You can almost write him down as a goal scorer before the game kicks off. It's incredible what Peter Wilson has done for this Oakland Roots side, as it's a missed kick from Shakes. It does find its way to Tony Herbert.
A little bit of a tactical wrinkle on the back line for New Mexico. Kip Keller replaced Century, which would push Talon Maples to his right back position. Probably not his preferred spot, Talon Maples, but the versatility, again, makes him such an invaluable piece to the back line for New Mexico.
3 minutes, by the way, and 20 seconds between Akale giving New Mexico the lead and Peter Wilson holding his nerve from the penalty spot to get Oakland quickly back on level terms. Bailey striding forward for United. Gloucester has real estate in front of him. Likes to check it back to Ryden. Noel on the turn. Maples striding forward through the middle of the Oakland half, finds Akale. Akale lays it off, Noel Chance here for Chris Gloucester. And then Harris, oh, it's an own goal. Touched into Oakland's net by Neville Hackshaw. New Mexico forced the issue. And in this seesaw first half, New Mexico jumped back on top.
This game has been played at 100 miles per hour. Buckle up. Give credit to New Mexico yet again. Just the spacing as they call it comes centrally. And it's this little dummy run from Zico Baylor that pulls out Danny Gomez. And as Gloucester continues his run centrally, he requires so much attention, which opens up Harris at this far post, and just an awkward ball across. Hackshaw needs to make a play on this because he has no idea what's behind him. Just so unfortunate for the center back. It's a nightmare position as you're facing your own goal. And it's an uh-oh moment for the leader, for the Oakland Roots.
I was just about to say, be the last man on the list. You'd expect to have a moment like that. Neville Hackshaw, he's been so good for Oakland these last few seasons. Of course, Greg Hurst, it looked to be right behind him. Hackshaw had to get a touch onto it, unfortunately for him. He's given New Mexico the lead.
You and I, Sean, have the ability to speak with coaches throughout the year at every single level in professional soccer. And one thing that they continue to say, once a player does get to that final third, put the ball in a dangerous area, because good things will happen and you cause chaos. Exhibit A right there.
Just saw briefly there, Oakland now are leading the league in goals conceded after those two have gone in from New Mexico in this first half. I should say in the first 20 minutes of the first half. Oakland's turn with Trejo. Batash, lovely pirouette. Trying to find somebody in the middle. The cross goes towards the edge of the penalty spot. Harris's header falls kindly for Riley. Near side, Camden Riley. And Cam Riley was in an offside position. New Mexico free kick. Well, make sure you show off your team pride in style with official merch from shopusl.com. Check out brand new tees, hoodies, novelty items, and more of your favorite USL team at shopusl.com by scanning the QR now. We might actually have two of the better dressed teams.
About to say.
USL Championship in this game today. New Mexico are always sharp with their home kits, and of course those classic A's, Oakland A's inspired road kits and times home kits for Oakland. In the white, green, and yellow are about as good as any we've seen this season, must be said.
The positioning of Valentino Well needs to be a bit more influential for New Mexico, because as they are building out of the back, they are baiting Danny Gomez and Tyler Gibson and El Masnawi out of position. So if you can get
a turnover, Trejo on the byline. Trejo assessing the scene here. Gibson, El Masnawi for Riley. Lays it off for Gagi. Spoons it for Hackshaw. Hackshaw looking for Wilson. It's headed away by Ryden. In the end, cleared by Shakes. Batash for Trejo. And Maples is able to close him down and take it off him. Trejo fouls him. New Mexico free kick.
Just so good, 1v1 defending, top side of your screen. I just want you to notice the hips of Talon Maples, where he is forcing Danny Trejo towards the sideline. And once Trejo takes that long touch, that's when he closes down the angle. You talk about being very savvy in terms of your positioning, but also reading your counterpart. Fantastic ability from Talon Maples.
Shakes. Finds his opposite number in McIntosh. There is one other game going on in the USL Championship at the moment. Birmingham and Miami is also at 2-1. It's been a goal fest in both games so far. That game is also in the 24th minute. We're just ticking into the 25th minute here in Albuquerque.
The player in and around the Golden Boot race as well, Bonfilio, scores a goal. What a surprise he's been for Miami FC. Great ball.
Speaking of the Golden Boot race, here's Wilson trying to get around Ryden. Oh, close quarters here for New Mexico. They just are able to get that out of their own penalty area.
It's been nervy moments when trying to play out of the back for this New Mexico side. Tip Keller just comes in front of Shakes. No need to try to play through the pressure. Just clear your lines and get out of danger.
The hold-up play from Greg Hurst. Maples from the goal scorer, Akale. Out for a throw-in. Gloucester. Harris back for Bailey. And a full reset to Kalen Ryden. Kalen Ryden has been with New Mexico since 2020. It's on the Real Monarchs team that won the title back in 2019. He's had a wonderful career, just period, let alone USL Championship. Going to be part of one more deep run towards, who knows, maybe another title at the end of his career. This New Mexico side that certainly have as good a chance as any of making a deep run. Here's Maples, meanwhile, for Akale. This is where Akale loves to operate. He goes down, and the referee gives New Mexico a penalty. Second penalty given in the half, one for each side, and New Mexico have a chance to double their advantage.
What is just so impressive about Akale is his ability to bait his defender. Similar how he scored the opening goal. Notice how he just stops and slows himself down, and what that does to Al Masnaoui. Now his feet are not moving. He takes that long touch around the corner a bit quicker, and it is a bit reckless from Al Masnaoui to leave his feet when your opposing player is already ahead of you. Good call again from John Griggs, and an opportunity for Talon Maples, who's been automatic from 12 yards out.
Yeah, no questions about that. Talon Maples, particularly from these moments, from 12 yards out, he tends to make these for New Mexico, and he does it again with ease. Talon Maples, as he always does, makes no mistake from the penalty spot, and New Mexico have a 3-1 lead at the Lab.
As Akale plays on the right-hand side, and he's naturally left-footed, he can come centrally, he can cut to the end line, but one thing that remains constant is he is so quick, and he is just so good in tight spaces. Reckless from Al Masnaoui, a good learning opportunity, but Talon Maples noticed the run up, that little hop and skip right before he approaches the ball, sends McIntosh the wrong way, and it just comes down to being simple. McIntosh goes one way, Maples goes the other, and New Mexico find the back of the net yet again.
Number 12 is pretty good from 12 yards out for this New Mexico United side. It's his 6th league goal of the season. Haven't even played half an hour. There's been 4 goals. And New Mexico, for the time being at least, are in control. Now Peter Wilson in Oakland looking for yet another response in this first half. From the set piece. Backed in towards the far side edge of the 6. There's Maples with the header clear, only as far as Gagi. Flipped right back into the middle. Ryden's header, then Akale cushions it out of harm's way for the time being. Recycle from Gomez, clipped in by Batash, headed centrally, and Shakes is on the scene to make the catch, and he was fouled as well. It's a free kick. Well, again, the reason these goals in this early lead are so important from New Mexico's point of view is they are trying to put as much pressure as they can on Sacramento, who will play midweek to start out next week's USL Championship slate. A win today for New Mexico puts them in that number 2 spot, and then Sacramento will have to respond midweek if they are to retain that number 2 seed in the playoffs.
Not going to be easy for Sacramento Republic. They host the Charleston Battery, which is a strong team in the Eastern Conference.
Of course, the Battery have already locked up the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, to your point, Ricky. Gagi, meanwhile, trying to fend off the Scotsman, Greg Hurst. Cleared away by McIntosh.
At a certain point, the center backs for the Oakland Roots have to understand if there is no pressure on the ball, they need to drop off. Because so many times, Akale, Harris, Valentino Weld get on the ball. There's just so many runners in behind them. The next step in that progression defensively, you need more out of your midfielders.
Batash over the top. Peter Wilson's in behind here. He plays it across, touched away by Herbert. Gagi. Riley. Advantage played. Faisal Batash blocked by Ryden. Batash picks up the pieces here. Al-Masnawi. Oh, it's off the frame. A rocket off the left peg of Ali Al-Masnawi, and again, Oakland hits the frame.
Great recognition for Batash, the high line, so that means there's real estate in behind. But if you are Peter Wilson, you need to strike the ball right here. As you take that third touch around the corner, now the angle just closes down. When you talk about strike, flawless technique from Al-Masnawi. Hits directly through this ball with his least preferred left foot and just rattles that top corner. Great strike from the young professional.
Remember, Riley was brought down in the middle of that sequence. Referee correctly played advantage, but there is a yellow card on Gideon Zalalem for bringing Riley down earlier in the sequence.
Aggressive from Zalalem, comes in and catches Riley. Big test in terms of his discipline for the remainder of this game. To not pick up another silly yellow card, that is going to be on the mind of Dennis Sanchez.
Here's Trejo. Batash lays it off. The shot takes a deflection, and Shakes is able to make the stop.
Good bit of play. Left side of your screen, Biarahunga from his midfielder position comes in and then crashes top of the 18-yard box. Alexa go with his inside of the foot, just trying to guide it and place it. You need to put your laces through it. Keep your head down, hit directly through this ball, and let momentum do its thing. Easy save in the end from Shakes.
Oakland have certainly had their chances in this first half. Now Trejo for Gibson. Back out for Gomez. You can see there Oakland had to make a change in the middle of all that. Bobosi Biarahunga has been brought in. And Al-Masnawi makes way in the 35th minute.
Interesting sub for Benny Feilhaber. Specifically after Al-Masnawi just rattles the crossbar. Was the one that conceded the pen as he takes down Akale, but as Biarahunga comes in now, going to give you a bit more on the defensive side of the ball, especially with that box midfielder that Benny Feilhaber has elected to go with to close out this season.
Ten minutes plus stoppage time left in what's been a goal-crazy first half. Shakes has Keller to his right for a short option. As you look at some of the goal-scoring summary, Akale's goal canceled out by the penalty from Peter Wilson. And then Harris here, he's going to commit a foul on Kai Green. But the second New Mexico goal was an own goal. Neville Hackshaw putting it in to his own net. Talon Maples converting a penalty to make it 3-1. Here is Gagi. The aforementioned Biarahunga clips it over the top, looking for Danny Trejo too far out in front of him. We were talking about the midweek fixtures in the USL Championship. We head across the Atlantic for some world-class soccer in the UEFA Champions League. Newcastle United and Benfica, the Portuguese giants, go head-to-head. Catch all the action Tuesday, 3 Eastern, right here on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount+. Gomez. Biarahunga. Cam Riley. Hackshaw trying to make up for the own goal maybe earlier. That's a bit of a wasteful strike into the seats.
It's a wrong decision in the end from Hackshaw. The Oakland Roots have done the most damage when the ball's quick and there's movement centrally ahead of it. That is when you need to keep the circulation going and bait out New Mexico, and that's when you can find Batash, who's done a good job at playing in between the lines.
Shakes is going to send Keller and Ryden further forward here. And if the result holds, New Mexico would end the weekend as the #2 seed. The USL Championship Western Conference playoff setup. And then they'll of course hope that Charleston could do them a favor midweek against Sacramento in California.
Great ball.
Lovely ball threaded through here. Peter Wilson goes down, and incredibly, the referee has given his third penalty of the half. Or has he? Yes, it is. It's a yellow card for Kalen Ryden. Peter Wilson brought down. It's another Oakland penalty.
It is just so impressive, the movement of Peter Wilson. The right side of your screen, you're gonna see him into your vantage view right in there as he takes that touch across Kalen Ryden and Gloucester. Now he really puts some pressure, and there is a tiny bit of contact from Ryden. With the experience of Peter Wilson, if he feels anything, he is going to go down no matter what. As an attacking player, if you cross the path of your individual marker, you hinder their path. And another call from John Griggs, and another turn within the first 40 minutes of this half.
Third penalty of the half, Oakland's second penalty. Peter Wilson converted the first time he went and locked eyes with Chris Shakes. And you better believe there's going to be a rematch here. If Peter Wilson can score this goal, he will be the new leader in the Golden Boot race, all by himself. He tied Cal Jennings with his first goal and got one goal ahead of M.D. Myers, both of the Charleston Battery. He'd be all alone in first place if he can convert his second penalty. Wilson versus Shakes, part 2. Same outcome. 17 goals in this USL Championship season for Peter Wilson, who's now the new Golden Boot leader. And Oakland are back in it. It's 3-2.
Just the form is incredible, but notice this touch as it comes across, right in. The contact on the shoulder, he goes down. And the little bit of a stutter step is a nightmare for a goalkeeper, because now you have to figure out where the ball's going, but you also have to get your timing right. Great pen in terms of the execution for Peter Wilson. Cool as you would like.
The game has officially gone goal crazy here in this first half. All 3 penalties that have been taken have been converted. Peter Wilson is at the top of the Golden Boot race, and Oakland are back in this race, now down just 3-2.
And give credit to Peter Wilson, especially with your second pen in the first half. So many mind games. Are you going to change it up? Are you going to go the same way? Do you try something different in terms of your run-up? Really well done, and talks about his composure in front of goal.
Kip Keller does well on the cover there and hits it off of Trejo. Out for a New Mexico throw. There's still 3 minutes plus stoppage time left, and there's the confirmation that Peter Wilson has pulled ahead in the USL Championship Golden Boot race. 7 games in a row that he has scored. It's now 14 in his last 12 appearances in the USL Championship. You can almost see the smoke and the flames coming from him. He is as red hot as any player can be at this stage of the season.
Form is everything for a striker, and confidence when you are having the ability to find the back of the net. The net looks massive. And it's interesting, Sean, because we had a conversation with Benny Feilhaber early in this year, specifically for the Oakland Roots, when they played against Phoenix Rising at home. There was about 4 opportunities that Peter Wilson could have scored. He got pulled at halftime. And Benny Feilhaber pulled him into his office throughout the week and said, look, don't try to pick out a corner. Don't try to find the perfect goal. Just focus on hitting the net. Peter Wilson has taken that message. He's stayed true to his craft. He's trusted his training, and now you start to see him reap the benefits.
One great attacking player's advice for another great attacking player.
Tough challenge.
Bailey eventually does lose out here. Trejo spins into space. Batash. Oakland trying to overturn this 2-goal deficit before the end of the half here. Back for Hackshaw. Ooh, a misplaced pass by Gagi. Allows Akale to pick up the pieces here. Tries to slide it through for Harris, and Kendall McIntosh is there.
Perfect example of the relationships within that front three. Akale on the ball, Harris vertical, but in the end, really good reading of the play from Kendall McIntosh to come off of his line quickly.
By Ruhanga. Near side, Cam Riley. By Ruhanga pressured, forced to go back towards the halfway line, and Gagi. Hackshaw. Trejo. Moves out to Bailey. This is Kip Keller. And Keller looks to lead the break here for New Mexico. Pushes it forward for Akale. And even the swift Makwele Akale could not get there. Well, that is going to take us into 4 added minutes at the end of the half here at the Lab in Albuquerque. It's a first half that the neutrals, I don't think, would want to have end. But incredibly exciting. A seesaw first half, if there ever was one. I'm hoping that there might be one last twist in this first half. Batash for Gomez.
It's about the 4th time that we've seen Batash just play off the shoulder as Alalam in that half pocket of space where the Oaklands have really...
By Ruhanga, stinging the palms of Shakes. Riley crosses it into the middle, nobody there. In a white shirt, Akale shepherds it out. Added to the list of Shakes saves in the first half.
Just notice how out of position Zelalem is. Now that opens up that whole central location. Great strike from Ruhanga to force a really good save from Shakes, who's actually had himself a fantastic first half. Shakes coming off of his line, making himself big, commanding his 6-yard box. He's been a good addition to the lineup under Dennis Sanchez.
We've had 5. We could have had at least a few more goals between these two in this first half that has been electric. Still a couple of minutes left in it. Hackshaw. Gomez tried to thread the needle down the far side. Gomez follows up for Batash. Early ball in behind for Peter Wilson, who does go down again. He tumbles over. Shakes is able to get there.
Good idea from Batash, who's been extremely influential to the success for that man and the Roots going forward. Head up. And again, Peter Wilson playing in between 2 defenders for New Mexico. This time, Chris Glosser doing just enough to make his life a little bit uncomfortable.
A couple of headers there from Gagi, but it allows New Mexico to win it back with Valentin Noel. Hurst looking for Bailey. It didn't quite come off for him. Oakland are able to close the door in time defensively. Zelalem out wide for Maples. Makwele Akale lofts it over the top and out of play. Oh, Wilson touches it off of Shakes, who just about clears it for New Mexico. Speaking of nervy defensive moments for United in this first half, nearly another.
The communication between Ryden and Keller is going to be at a point of emphasis for Dennis Sanchez at halftime. Too many times they're getting caught flat-footed, and Peter Wilson is just eating them alive within playing in between both of them. Communication, providing coverage off one another is the first priority for the two center backs. For Benny Feilhaber, just elect your team to continue to be confident, especially in between lines, because if you do that, you allow Peter Wilson to be aggressive, and that's when he's at his best.
Halftime at the Lab in Albuquerque. That was a wonderfully played first half from an attacking standpoint. A seesaw first half as well. Akale giving New Mexico the lead. Wilson equalizing an own goal, and then Maples making it 3-1 to New Mexico. Only for Peter Wilson to take the lead in the Golden Boot race and get Oakland back into the game at 3-2. Well, if that was the appetizer, what are we going to see in the second half between New Mexico and Oakland? United at the half leading by 3-2. It's the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. It's the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. What a first half between New Mexico United and the Oakland Roots, a 5-goal thriller. And the good news is there's still 45 minutes to to play. Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espen, our entire crew, happy to have you back here with us as we look at the Western Conference standings. Again, if New Mexico can hold on to all 3 points here against Oakland, they would put pressure on Sacramento for that #2 seed in the Western Conference playoffs. Of course, Oakland playing for pride. We already know that. They were eliminated midweek.
Biggest surprise of 2025 has been FC Tulsa, with Luke Spencer to be the #1 team in the Western Conference. I don't think anyone besides Tulsa thought that was possible. He's done a great job at creating an identity, and they are just so difficult to break through.
On the Eastern Conference side of things, Lou City win the Players' Shield. Charleston are locked in to the #2 seed. 3 through 6 is separated by just 2 points. And of course, Detroit plays Tampa Bay for a spot in the playoffs. Indy still very much in the mix as well around the playoff line.
One spot for 3 teams. Who's going to take their opportunities? Who's going to grab those 3 points? Detroit City and Danny Dico starting to find a little bit of form. They drew against Charleston Battery. Not an easy place to play. Detroit City starting to find their form right around the playoffs.
It's going to be a fascinating last week and a half in the USL Championship regular season as the race to the playoffs continues. We've had a great first half here in Albuquerque. We'll have highlights, stats, and the second half kick coming up after the break. Halftime here in Albuquerque on CBS Sports Network. New Mexico leading Oakland by 3-2. It's been a heck of a first 45 minutes so far. Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espen, our entire crew, happy to have you back here with us at the half. Pretty crazy first 45 minutes, goals galore, and of course Peter Wilson certainly starred for the Roots.
Our neutrals, what you want. For Benny Fajardo, it's been free flowing, but for Dennis Sanchez, probably not happy in terms of his manager. You want them to be a little bit more defensive-minded, but yet give credit to New Mexico. They started off this game, they were quick, they were decisive, and Akale had his fingerprints all over that first half. But notice 1v1 ability for Akale. As he slows himself down, Kai Green, at his mercy, takes his long touch around the body, low and hard, gives him a chance. Akale opens up the goal scoring for New Mexico.
Yeah, that was against the run of play. The Roots had a very positive start to the game, but then New Mexico gets the goal. And then, of course, Oakland eventually did have a response.
It starts with a little bit of a silly decision from Zico Bailey. Tries to nutmeg Gagi, pushes the tempo, and Peter Wilson. What an emphatic finish that is. The amount of pace, the amount of power, a little dance to go with it. The Oakland Roots were feeling themselves early on.
Moments later, Neville Hackshaw puts it into his own net to give New Mexico the lead back.
This little dummy from Zico Bailey right here allows Gloucester to continue to be aggressive, but notice 3 Oakland Roots players gets caught ball watching, which gives Harris the freedom centrally, and then you put the ball in a dangerous area like every single coach tells you to do. You put pressure on this back line for Hackshaw, and it's a nightmare for the center back, puts into his own goal.
That seesaw start to the first half would kind of continue here, and there would be another penalty, this time for New Mexico.
Again, really similar for Akale. Unless now he needs to move his feet, he gets drawn down. And Alan Maples, we talked about it, his automatic ability from 12 yards out. The little hop right there sends Kendall McIntosh the wrong way. It's an easy finish for the center back to get his 6th on the season.
Felt like New Mexico was in control at that particular point, but again, the Roots responded.
The first touch for Peter Wilson here is everything. Notice how he comes across, right, and he invites a contact. There's not a lot of contact, but yet you go down. You force the issue for John Griggs, and Peter Wilson comes into the day with 15 goals, ends with that first half 17, and leads the Golden Boot race.
He's now one ahead of Cal Jennings. As you look at the first half stats, a lot of shots for Oakland throughout those first 45 minutes. New Mexico, however, were clinical.
Buckle up, get your popcorn. If anything, if this second half is anything like that first half, we're in for a good one.
Now keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times watching the USL Championship these days. New Mexico lead by 3-2. The second half from the lab is coming up next. Our travel map is brought to you by Best Western, and hard to pick anyone else to analyze here than Peter Wilson for the Roots.
Most of his actions have been in that final third inside the attacking 18-yard box, which is exactly where you want him operating. The ability to create for himself, the ability to create for his teammates. He's a ruthless finisher. If this travel map is similar in that second half, that means the Oakland Roots are finding success going forward.
Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espin, our entire crew, happy to have you with us here on CBS Sports Network. New Mexico leading Peter Wilson in Oakland by 3-2. It was a topsy-turvy first 45 minutes. As it stands, New Mexico would still climb from third into second in the Western Conference of the USL Championship standings. Oakland trying to play a role of spoiler here. They're trying to play free and confident and finish the season on a high note. We've certainly seen a lot of that from Benny Failhopper's group. New Mexico have had times in this half where they've been in control. Of course, Peter Wilson and the Roots have been able to find ways back into the game now on multiple occasions. And it sets up for a pretty fascinating second 45 minutes here at the Lab in Albuquerque. Have been told that Dennis Sanchez and New Mexico United are preparing a couple of substitutions here at the start of the second half. Looks like we're actually waiting for our great officiating crew to rejoin us here at the Lab. So we'll see if those Dennis Sanchez adjustments can help get New Mexico stabilized and back on track. They're about to be made here. Sergio Rivas, Usman Jabang are going to come in. That is going to be it for Zico Bailey and Gideon Zalalem, who was on a yellow card.
And it's subs that Dennis Sanchez needed to make. How many times did we see Batash get in between the lines, play a ball over the top for Peter Wilson to run onto? As you bring in Rivas and Jabang, you have more defensive solid players to sit right in front of that back four. They're going to muck up the game. They're going to clog passing lanes. So the movement of Batash needs to be a bit smarter in the second half.
John Griggs, our referee, blows the whistle, and the second half is underway here at Isotopes Park, aka the Lab, here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. New Mexico leading Oakland by 3-2. And Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espin, our entire crew, happy to have you with us here on CBS Sports Network. First touch for Rivas for the fellow sub Jabang, although he loses out. And then the follow-up is a foul by Danny Gomez and a free kick.
Perfect example of what you get with Rivas and Jabang now. More presence to do the dirty side of the ball, which will allow Valentino Well to be more influential, more aggressive, higher up the field within his positioning.
Of course, we've been keeping an eye on Birmingham against Miami as well. Miami were 3-1 up last time we were taking a glance at that scoreline. Those two teams, of course, at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. As Keller was trying to communicate there with Chris Shakes, eventually finds Ryden with Peter Wilson lurking. Ricky, you hit the nail right on the head in the first half. There were some nervy defensive moments for New Mexico, and they haven't quite silenced those yet.
Kip Keller and Ryden are far too easily beaten just with the movement of Trejo and Peter Wilson. Especially when you play with two center backs. I said in the first half, you need someone to be a bit more aggressive in terms of stepping into that middle third, but the other one needs to provide coverage. Too many times they get caught on the same plane. It was just too easy for the Roots.
New Mexico are in search of their 7th home win of the season. It would be their 14th overall. Of course, New Mexico were the #1 overall seed in the West last year in the playoffs. They did get knocked out early. Here is Akale trying to lay that off. Akale again, he lets it slip underneath his boot, but controls it for New Mexico on the near side. Now Maples And Akale settles for a throw-in. New Mexico lost in those Western Conference semifinals last season. 2, of course. Dennis Sanchez's Las Vegas Lights, after they knocked out their arch rivals Phoenix in the first round. Cam Riley and the Roots thought that that was going to be a throw-in for Oakland. Riley let the ball bounce out of play with that assumption. But John Griggs, I believe, has given the throw-in to New Mexico instead. Well, that's pretty important because it allows New Mexico to potentially bring some numbers forward here and throw this right into the 18-yard box if they so choose. That's where they're gonna aim, edge of the 6. It's a convincing header from Gagi. And on the follow-up, the cross is deflected out for a United corner. Chris Gloucester, who wins the set piece. Akale and Harris talking over what they want to do from the corner.
Riley gets shaken up a little bit as we take a look at the lab and the thousands in attendance here to will their side. It's just so important for Dennis Sanchez and company to try to get a home playoff game in as many as they can. Historically just so good when they do play at home.
We've seen some of the best in the USL Championship, MLS come here and tremble, literally have a really tough time handling this excellent lab crowd here at Isotopes Park. Ryden continues to be looked at here. Trying to patch him up. It's off to the far side as New Mexico gets this corner kick set up. It's Harris's delivery. And the header away by Hackshaw. Naples tried to keep it alive, and now a chance for the Roots to break in transition here with Batash. As runners either side, slips in Danny Trejo. Trejo holds off the advances of Akale, and the ball for Batash comes up short. New Mexico, after all of that, are going to win a free kick.
Just late from Batash. This is a tremendous opportunity. As Trejo makes that run, you need to play it now. You take that second, you take that third touch. Now that window just starts to close. Valentin Noel, Akale doing a good job, and then eventually Ryden closing down that window. If you play in front of Danny Trejo, he can run onto it, and that is when Danny Trejo is at his best, when he has the ability to stretch his legs. You just see a little bit of frustration from the striker for the Oakland Roots.
Couple of moments of being bumped and bruised for Kalen Ryden, but he gets back in time to help New Mexico handle that Roots transitional moment. Maples for Hurst. Now Akale. Rivas dispossessed by Kai Green. And then a foul against Jabang gives Oakland a free kick.
But that's something we didn't see in that first half, right? Just a presence, not allowing Batash to get on the half turn. Good positioning from Jabang.
A bit of a holdback there. Wouldn't be surprised. Yep, the referee is going to go to his pocket here. It's going to be a yellow card for Valentin Noel for holding back the opposition player.
Denial of progression for Hackshaw, deserving of a yellow card for Valentino Noel. Just a bit silly from the attacking player from New Mexico.
Of course, Valentin Noel started his season with Las Vegas, where he played so well under Dennis Sanchez last year, and he's come here to New Mexico and picked up almost right where he left off in his partnership with his coach, as that attack fizzles out for Oakland on the back end.
Valentino Noel, Dennis Sanchez, coach and player that understand each other extremely well, even going back to MLS Next Pro at Austin FC too, a couple years back where they won the trophy. When you have a coach that really trusts you, like Dennis Sanchez does to Valentino Noel, it just gives you so much confidence. I do think there is still a level higher for Valentino Noel to be impactful. Big opportunity to be that marquee signing once the playoffs do come.
Ooh, Riley lets it slip underneath his boot, and that could open up a chance here for New Mexico. This is Dayon Harris. Harris forced out of the 18-yard box. Does have help in the form of Chris Gloucester. Sergio Rivas. Rivas a second time here, fits it through for Akale. And Akale ends up laying the ball off here. Could open up again here for New Mexico with Rivas, who finds Maples. Maples back for Akale. The extra pass here for Gloucester. Dayon Harris's shot is deflected. Referee brings it back for a free kick as he had allowed New Mexico to gain an advantage there. And there's going to be a yellow card handed out, it looked like, for Gomez for Oakland.
Just so quick, Akale is yet again, and this time it's his first touch that is just so important. Allows him to move the ball with the second touch of it. Nice pocket of space. Yarahunga a bit late, and it's really good refereeing from John Griggs. Allows play to see if there is an advantage. There isn't, so he pulls it back. And an interesting location for New Mexico with a plethora of options here. Either go over the wall, under the wall, or hard to the goalkeeper's side. So important for Kendall McIntosh to trust the players in the Oakland Roots wall.
So Bairu Hanga, of course, put in that challenge, which means he gives up the free kick, but Danny Gomez did get the yellow card, as we had surmised. That was for dissent. So no card for the challenge, just for Gomez's reaction. What does New Mexico have up their sleeves here? Greg Hurst and Makwele Akale stand over at 5, with 2 off to the side in the Oakland wall. Akale hits it into the wall. Recycled by Harris for Gloucester. Gloucester for Keller. Back for Gloucester, whose cross in is headed out of play by Kai Green for a corner. You can see the shade becoming a bit of a factor here in this near side corner. It will be Akale to deliver this corner for New Mexico United. Harris is staying nearby for a potential short option here. Akale has it deflected out for Harris. Harris clips it towards Keller, who heads it centrally. Ryden tries to get there, and he commits a foul as the header was won by Neville Hackshaw. looks like the Roots are going to make a change here. That is going to be that for Danny Trejo, who's running a bit gingerly off the pitch here for Oakland. Wolfgang Prestis is going to take his place.
Never really found that same type of rhythm that we saw in the first 5 minutes for Danny Trejo. And like you mentioned, Sean, didn't seem natural in the way that he ran off. Want to re-aggravate an injury as Wolfgang Prestis comes in now. He's going to give you that same type of verticality and directness within his movement for the Oakland Roots.
You saw briefly there, 4 goals and 3 assists for Prestis so far this season. 7 goal contributions. It certainly helped the Roots get back into this game yet again as the cross comes in looking for Wilson. Ryden is there to clear it. There's Wolfgang Prestis, formerly of Forward Madison, USL League One. Speaking of clubs that have great kits, by the way.
And a good environment as well.
Oh, no questions about that.
Just been tremendous to see the growth of USL, not only at the championship level, but League One as well. Talk about Forward Madison, one of the originals, that environment. Portland Heart to Pine their first year.
Oh, yeah.
6,000 plus every single time they play at Fitzpatrick Stadium. Oakland Roots playing at the Coliseum now. Continues to grow, continues to get better and better. There's USL.
You and I had FC Naples earlier this season in USL League One on CBS Sports Network as well. That club has had a tremendous inaugural season in USL League One as well, just to add to the list, really. You see teams like Sacramento and Pittsburgh looking to improve their home venues in preparation for what's to come in the next few seasons as well. Well, this goes on and on. Good cross in behind by Riley. Ryden cleared it out of play. I do wonder if the referee is going back to an earlier moment in the sequence.
Shouts for a foul here as this ball comes around the corner. Camden Riley has done a good job. That's a foul. No question whatsoever. No play on the ball. Catches Harris from Camden Riley. John Griggs misses this one. And rightly so. Every single person in a New Mexico kit having a conversation with the refereeing crew.
Well, Harris got the worst of that, of course, and like you rightly said, Ricky, it does look like John Griggs did not give it. It's going to be a corner for Oakland after Harris is attended to here. Of course, that's another thing that's going to be high on the priority list for Dennis Sanchez, is making sure his team stays as healthy as it is right now. He was telling us earlier this week, they're about as healthy as they've been right now all year. Pick the perfect time, but of course you don't want to... You want to really be careful in these kind of moments with a player like Dayon Harris, who you're hoping has a big part of your playoff run that's upcoming.
It's a balance for Dennis Sanchez because, yes, you want to have your players available, but you also don't want to risk them. It's a player like Harris that is just so fast twitch, that's just so explosive. I mean, that man managing skill, you just see a little bit of frustration from the New Mexico winger.
It did look like Marlon Vargas was getting prepared for New Mexico as the corner loops out of play, but the referee did not give Oakland permission to take it. So this is going to be retaken. Harris rejoins the fray, which is good to see for New Mexico. They may have to get back to Marlon Vargas a bit later. Former Lou City man Tyler Gibson is going to take the corner. Moves it in towards the near side edge of the 6, headed away by Noel, only as far as Bairu Hanga. Gibson's ball back into the middle is caught in traffic by Chris Shakes. See top right-hand side of your screen here. New Mexico are preparing a couple of substitutions. We'll get to that in a moment. Noel slides it through down this far side. There's black shirts in the middle. The run to the edge of the 6 is put across, and Kai Green clears it. Oakland send it up the other end to no avail, and Shakes controls. Now Maples. Akale. Held up by Kai Green. Forced back to Jabang. On the turn there, was there a foul? No, says the referee. Play continues here. Waiting for some more numbers to join the attack here. It's a wonderful weaving run here from Peter Wilson, who is on a hat trick. It deflects back off of him and out for a goal kick. And that will allow New Mexico to make a double change here. We mentioned Marlon Vargas. He's going to come on to replace Deon Harris, so Dennis Sanchez is not going to risk it with Harris the rest of the game here. And then a like for change up top. Luther Archimed coming in for Greg Hurst. One striker will replace the other.
Different type of profiles coming onto the field for New Mexico. Archimed is going to be a back-to-goal number 9, a big physical body, so look for him to occupy the two center backs in Hackshaw and Gagi, which in theory will allow Valentino Well to float underneath him. Marlon Vargas, not out winger. He's not going to be that vertical threat. He's actually going to come centrally as well to try to get on the ball to combine in central locations. So a different way that we're going to see this New Mexico side attack the remainder of this game.
25 minutes plus stoppage time left. All the goals came in the first half. New Mexico still leading by the odd goal in 5. Marlon Vargas, wonderful run, stood up by Gagi. Akale picks up the pieces near side edge of the penalty area. Tries to scoop it, did he keep it in play? Akale goes down, referee says it was kept in play, and it was a clean challenge. Safe to say the lab disagrees with the decision there.
Again, just so creative Akale is. The third time that he's had the ability to stand up his individual defender. Body feints, nutmegs, lifting it over the foot. Young man has it all, really to express himself in that final third.
Gloucester clips it over the top here. Pressure here, it's gonna fall for Akale. Archimed headed off the line by Hackshaw. Only as far as Akale, blocked by Gomez. And Oakland will clear it with Prentice up ahead.
Just relentless the amount of pressure right now for New Mexico. Doing a good job at being aggressive. Notice how many numbers they have ahead of that midway line. Those are two center backs about 10 yards off. Been a lot of mobility. The tempo's been a bit better. So whatever Dennis Sanchez said at halftime really struck a chord, because we've seen a team that's playing a lot quicker.
And worth reiterating, if the result holds, New Mexico will be in the number 2 seed in the West for now, with that Sacramento midweek game pending at home to Charleston. The other big storyline, of course, is that Peter Wilson is now the new Golden Boot leader in the USL Championship. He has scored both of Oakland's goals, and they were both penalty conversions. Jabang keeps it going on this near side for Talon Maples. Back for Keller. With both of these teams this season, game management, right, has come up at different points in this regular season. Just over 20 minutes left. There's a game to be managed. We'll see who can pull this out. It's touched out of play for a United throw.
Just going back to the shouts for a pen, what a move that is, but even better recovery from Kai Green. As he comes around, he needs to get this challenge right and get all of the ball. Really good 1v1 defending in terms of the recovery there from Kai Green.
Well, Kai Green, a New Jersey native, a Seton Hall University grad. Figured I'd mention that since it's an all Big East booth here. The ball is looped over the top. Offside flag was going to go up against Archimed anyway. Oakland recovers it.
You start to see the Oakland Roots struggle to find any type of solutions in that central location, and that is just because of Jabang. His positioning has changed everything throughout this match. He's just sitting right in front of the two center backs, blocking passing lanes, not allowing Batash to get on the half turn, which ultimately cuts a supply into Peter Wilson.
Gagi does well with Archimed on his hip, and then McIntosh really put Hackshaw in a tough spot, but Neville Hackshaw handles it brilliantly, finds a teammate and Kai Green down this near side. Flipped over the top, looking for Kai Green. It's going to be cut off from that. New Mexico defend it well. It's out for a goal kick. Let's take a look at the Best Western upcoming schedule. We're right at the end of the regular season, so we're looking ahead to the playoffs, an Eastern Conference quarterfinal and a Western Conference quarterfinal on November 2nd. Both are going to be on CBS Sports Network, and then, of course, it all leads up to the USL Championship final, November 22nd. That will be noon Eastern on CBS. Who is gonna be there? My goodness.
Take your pick. This year more than any, that is a great ball from Shakes.
Get back to that in a moment. Marlon Vargas leading this New Mexico break. It's played into the middle for Akale. Oh, and he skies it. It was sparkling build-up play from New Mexico, but Akale is not able to put it on target.
What a ball this is from Shakes. This pass takes out 6 Oakland Root players. And now right side of your screen, Akale just wants it more than Kai Green. It's a good ball in from Valentin Noel. Just continue your run. Akale, he almost stabs at it. Notice how he does not follow through and gets underneath it, and that's why it goes up and over the crossbar. But what an opportunity that would have been for New Mexico to put this game to bed.
Akale may have followed through on the goalkeeper, Kendall McIntosh, so McIntosh is being looked at. Kai Green needs a moment here as well. Well, we said this in the first half. There's been 5 goals. Could have been another 5 between these two. There's been a lot of close calls. Oakland's hit the frame a few times. Now New Mexico has a point-blank chance. Go by the wayside. course, on top of all that, 3 of the 5 goals have been penalty conversions so far. It's sometimes rare you see 1 penalty in a game. We've had 3, and all of them have been scored.
But it's been a really naive defending and really silly defending. First, it is Zico Belli, and here it's El Masnaoui. Alan Maple steps up right after Peter Wilson converts his, and then a really good touch from Peter Wilson to come across Kalen Ryden and just invite the contact. Peter Wilson, the mind games, no problem whatsoever, and you're looking at your Golden Boot leader right now in the USL Championship.
Yeah, there's the scoring summary. New Mexico have led on now a few different occasions. Oakland have yet to lead. They were 3-1 down, and then again, Peter Wilson got it back to 3-2. That's where we've been now for quite some time. Still 17 minutes plus a decent chunk, you would think, of stoppage time left. It's still a very fine margin between these 2 Western Conference foes. Remember, we've been keeping an eye on that Birmingham-Miami game as well. You guessed it, it's 3-2 there as well. Miami holding on to a lead. About 20 minutes to go in Alabama. Those are 2 teams that have been eliminated from playoff contention, but have shown signs that maybe next year they could take a step forward. Mark Briggs, of course, still with Birmingham Legion, moving them forward. Gaston Madoni is... Yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs, Miami, but boy, have they improved since the disaster that was their 2024 season. Possible push-off there. Referee did not give it as a foul, but has stopped it, I think, for a possible head injury here to Valentin Noel.
Dennis Sanchez having a very animated conversation with the 4th here as this ball comes in. Just watch the arms of Yaralonga. There's a little bit of a push out. Not a lot of contact, but you run the risk when your arms are extended away from your body. Has all the makings for a foul. And that is why everyone here at the lab complaining that this whistle is not blown.
Couple of changes here. More Benny Feilhaber and Oakland. Jürgen Dahm and Maury Donor are going to come in. Making way will be Cam Riley and Kai Green.
2 attacking-minded subs for Benny Feilhaber as you look at Maury Donor and Archibald that both played at Monterey Bay together. Good friends. But Maury Donor and Jürgen Dahm is going to give the Roots more of a vertical threat from the outside back position, something that they lacked throughout this match.
New Mexico's free kick comes up short. There's the step from Maury Donor, whose legs are fresh, of course. He's going to get past, just about get past Noel here. He fends him off. Can Oakland find an equalizer here at the lab? Gibson looking for Donor down the line. Cleared out of play by Gloucester, and a Roots throw. Batash for Wilson. Who slithered his way through, couldn't get clean contact on the header. There's Peter Wilson on a hat trick and on top now of the Golden Boot race with his 2 goals, but Oakland still are on the wrong side of this result at the moment.
I'll tell you what, as an attacking player, once you have that brace, your mind goes immediately to that hat trick. So expect Peter Wilson to continue to put pressure, to continue to make those runs in behind and test the shape of New Mexico, trying to get in the end of service.
Flicked header forward. Gagi keeps it away from Akale. Off the turnover here, this is Jabang. For New Mexico reset. Sergio Rivas. It's one of the other reasons, you mentioned it earlier, Ricky, that we've been keeping an eye on the Miami games, because Francisco Bonfilio is trying to keep his name in the Golden Boot race.
He's another player that has been a massive surprise in 2025 for Miami FC. Going to be a very interesting offseason for a lot of these strikers to see where they land up. A lot of teams are going to be fighting for their autograph, especially with how successful they've been as you take a look at the Golden Boot race in live. Peter Wilson, 1 goal ahead of Cal Jennings and MD Myers, where Charleston Battery sitting in 3rd.
Again, they play Sacramento middle of next week as far as the Golden Boot chase is concerned, and the battle for the #2 seed in the West is concerned as well. So that goes underneath the boot of Gomez, and out for another New Mexico throw. And then, of course, next weekend, I mean, there's still so much to decide at the bottom of the Western Conference as far as the playoffs are concerned. The bottom of the East is still up for grabs, particularly that #8 seed. With Detroit playing Tampa Bay, Indy will be at Orange County. Orange County have to win as well. The champions, the Switchbacks, had a big win last time out against Las Vegas. They need to win again against Tulsa to solidify a playoff spot as well. They're not the only ones. San Antonio is dangerously close to dropping out. They have to get a result next weekend as well. Phoenix picked up a big win over San Antonio last night. They have to go to Pittsburgh on the final day, and they haven't clinched yet either. It's going to be a fascinating last week of the regular season. That's the live table right now. If New Mexico hold on, they'll be in the #2 spot. Sacramento and El Paso have clinched. Phoenix on the way down through to Lexington all have work to do. Akale. It slithers through from Maples. Oh, and it was on a plate. But the chance is bounced over the top by Luther Archimet. Another point-blank miss for United.
Fantastic movement from New Mexico. Talon Maples plays this ball into Akale, but continues his run, and really soft feet from Vargas here to play it through, and every single player for the Oakland Roots thinks Talon Maples is offside. That's why they stop their run, as he just stings this ball across. If you are Archimet, you do not need to generate power. Just let it hit your foot and just redirect it. If you do, this game is done and dusted. The remainder 10 minutes for Dennis Sanchez, it's going to be all about balance. Understanding that, yes, you can try to overextend yourself and get that 4th, but you cannot leave yourself vulnerable just like this.
Prentice off a wonderful ball in behind. Oakland have a chance here. Gloucester clears it out to the edge of the area. Prentice resets it for Jürgen Dahm. Prentice again has time and space. Cross into the middle, could fall for an opportunity here for the Roots. The layoff for Donor. Donor to the byline, and he wins a corner for Oakland. The corner is taken quickly. Hackshaw's header into the mix here. It falls for Gagi! And incredibly, the Roots have gotten it back to level pegging yet again. Gagi roofs it to make it 3-3. It boils over in the goal mouth here. Both teams have to be separated. There's a card out. We'll try to sort all of this out. But Oakland yet again have tied it. It boils over inside the 6, and we've got a new game. It's 3-3.
Electing to go short to just try to change the angle, and it's not the initial ball that can cause some issues. It's a secondary wave. Peter Wilson does a great job at just throwing his body around and allowing one of his two teammates to go on attack, and that is some finish from Gagi. A center back looking like a striker, just roping this thing into the top corner. And as the fight for the ball ensues, players don't take kindly to it. Jurgen Damm gets involved, Jabang shakes as well. But what a fantastic finish that is from Gagi to keep his body over the ball and just strike directly through it.
That is Gagi's first goal of the season. And Oakland, again, have equalized as Jurgen Damm did pick up a yellow card for sparking that altercation. Up the other end, Maples with the ball in behind. Shake's got a yellow card on the back end as well. New Mexico again trying to find a lead.
Good ball.
Maples on the byline. Cross into the middle is touched clear by Bairu Hanga. Cleared towards Shakes, who resets for Keller. Far side, Noel. Vargas, blocked. Donor's clearance, right back to Vargas. And then Vargas could not get it out from under his feet. Free kick for Oakland. As another yellow card comes out, looks like it's for Ousmane Jabang.
Professional foul from Jabang, not allowing Peter Wilson just to turn him and just go for a run. Deserving of a yellow card. He knows exactly what he's doing here. Clever little turn for Peter Wilson as his ball pops out. Another transitional moment for Jabang, and he goes into the book.
Well, the reason that Gagi goal is significant as well is that now in the live table puts New Mexico back down on 45 points, and Sacramento have the head-to-head tiebreaker, so Sac Republic are now back in second place as it stands. Still 5 minutes plus stoppage time left in Albuquerque. Prentice on the near side. His cross is deflected out by Maples, and the Roots have a corner here.
Over the last 10 to 15 minutes, the Oakland Roots have done a really good job, specifically on wide parts of the field. Jurgen Damm, Maury Donor, being as expansive as possible to open up space centrally, but also to always give the Roots an outlet to go around this defensive set.
Again, the shade is becoming a bit of a factor, even on this near side corner as well. Players trying to get a good view of this upcoming Roots service. Handed away by Ryden. Donor forced to go back to the halfway line. Clipped onto the near side for Gibson. Batash clipping it into the penalty area. Gagi's header is central. It falls for a Roots chance. That's blocked high into the air by Ryden. And out for another Oakland corner.
Really similar how Gagi scores his goal. It's not the initial ball, it's a knockdown ball that the Oakland Roots are finding success winning. Another good opportunity for Tyler Gibson with the amount of traffic right on top of that 6-yard box in the Roots.
Another try from the corner, head to the outskirts for Donor. It's played down the line, the cross into the middle is chested down for Shakes. New Mexico finally push Oakland out of their own half, and Vargas looks to lead New Mexico up the other end here. But Gagi is able to catch up to him and win it back for the Roots. Three minutes plus stoppage time left. Ball looped over the top for Donor. Cross into the middle, takes another deflection, and yet another Oakland corner upcoming. Remember, Oakland have yet to lead in this game. 1-0 down, 3-1 down. They got it back to 3-3, and they could still steal the points here.
For a team that is now going to be in the playoffs, talk about the mentality and the pride that Benny Feilhaber and the whole Oakland Roots organization has to feel with the amount of adversity that they've seen in this game to claw themselves back at 3-3.
Gibson's ball in. It's Gagi's header. Into the ground, over the top. He's in search of another goal. He hadn't had one into today's action. Dennis Sanchez, meanwhile, is going to make his last change. Chris Gloucester is going to make way for Jalen Lindsay. And that is it. Final alteration for New Mexico.
Good press from Maury Donor here.
And Donor ends up committing the foul in the eyes of the referee.
Two players, handful of each other. Valentino Wells' right arm comes across the neck area of Maury Donor. Could have gone either way, but difficult coming together between two players.
I should mention this as well. Last time Oakland were in action, it was a crazy 2-2 draw away to Las Vegas, a game that essentially put them both on the chopping block for the playoffs. But remember, New Mexico are actually now involved in their second consecutive game that's reached a 3-3 scoreline. They had a 3-3 draw here against Orange County 8 days ago. Greg Hurst had a brace. Keller was on the score sheet as well. It's been another 6-goal thriller here at the Lab, and there still could be more to come. Akale. Archimed with a poor touch gives it back to Oakland as we are into stoppage time. 5 more minutes at least left to play.
Good step.
One back by United on this near side. Vargas for Akale, who skies it again. Another wonderful bit of build-up play is spoiled by New Mexico.
Clever from Marlon Vargas. As Jalen Lindsay wins this individual duel, he's already predicting that the back line of the Roots are retreating. So that's why he cuts back to open up a little bit of space. But the shoulders of Akale, as he approaches this ball, they go back. He gets underneath it, and that's why it goes up and over the crossbar.
Maury Donor. Plays it square, and again a chance to maybe cross this into the middle. It doesn't happen in the end. The door is slammed shut. It ends up being a goal kick with Lindsay's defensive work. Oh, that's a giveaway. And Oakland could still take advantage of this. Gomez. Played onto this near side for Dom. On the layoff, near side edge of the 18-yard box. New Mexico eventually have enough bodies there to clear it. Donor plays it in behind. It bounces out of the 18-yard box on this near side. Dom again. Can Oakland come back and win this game? There is still time. Hackshaw Tries to thread the needle. Rivas is there. Vargas loops it over the top here for Makwele Akale. Archimed's off to his left. Still Akale. He lays it off for Vargas, and he passes it out of bounds. And it was a moot point as the flag goes up.
Great run from Akale as he starts is in his own defensive half. He cannot be called offside, but you need to go at Hackshaw here. Set him up. You've been so successful in 1v1 opportunities.
Oakland up the other end. Oh, the shot from Wilson wasn't far away. Still 2 minutes to play. Keller. Maples up ahead. Akale. Clipped over the top by Jabang down this near side, and, well, it's going to be out of the reach of Rivas.
And as Akale just rolls this ball into the path of Marlon Vargas, it's on your preferred right foot. You need to go for goal. A bit unselfish. Tries to play it into Jabang and score that perfect type of goal. And especially with the magnitude of this game, when you need a result, trying to push for that #2 seed, you need to be ruthless. You need to have that killer mentality.
Just over a minute left for someone to try to go out and win the game here. Batash for Oakland. Jurgen Dahm on the near side. Batash plays it out wide for Donor. Donor threads it to the byline, touched out for a corner by Noel, and Oakland will get a chance at it here.
Last 2 set pieces for the Oakland Roots. They've elected to go short just to change the angle and look for that knockdown ball. So the intended targets will be Hackshaw, Peter Wilson, and Gagi here, trying to bring in one of their teammates. And look at Shakes. Wolfgang Prentice trying to impede his movement off of his line.
Gibson to deliver for Oakland. It's towards Gagi. It's Ryden's header. It's not definitively cleared yet. Batash back into the mix. It could fall for Gagi here on this near side. Gagi keeps it in play. Lovely back heel. Batash, who was offside. Flag goes up. Free kick for New Mexico as the 5 minutes are up. And it's full time at the Lab. A remarkable 2-goal comeback by Oakland sees them salvage a point here in New Mexico. New Mexico United drop 2 critical points that could see Sacramento claim the #2 seed in the West if they can win midweek at Charleston. But overall, that was a wonderful game from start to finish. 3-3 is the final.
If you're neutral, this game had everything you would have hoped for. You had goals, you had decisions by the referee, 1v1 abilities, set pieces, penalties, the list goes on and on. But for Dennis Sanchez, that's 2 games in a row that you've conceded 3 times. If you want to make a run into deep into the playoffs, you need to be a bit more stingy and not allowing balls to hit the back of your net.
It is now 6 matches unbeaten on the bounce in the league for New Mexico. But Oakland, led by Peter Wilson, come back to get a point here at the Lab after a wonderfully played game in the USL Championship. We'll wrap it up after the break. But once again, the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western, delivers a 3-3 thriller between New Mexico and Oakland in the USL Championship tonight. It's a missed opportunity for New Mexico. They stay in third place. Sacramento had that tiebreaker that puts them back up into second place. Midweek win at Charleston would put them right on course for the number 2 seed in the Western Conference playoffs. Sean St. Jacques, Ricky Lopez, Espen back here with you. We look back through the highlights of an incredibly crazy game at the Lab that started with an opening goal from Miquel Akale.
Start on one side and on the other. Harris does a really good job, but his 1v1 ability is just filthy for Miquel. As he brings in Kai Green, now he has the defender at his mercy. That long touch is only one person going to win that foot race, and it's a really clinical finish. No chance for Kendall McIntosh. Going back the other way, Zico Bailey a bit silly. Initially tries to nutmeg Goggin. It's a big no-no, especially in your defensive half. And now you are looking at Peter Wilson, who sits at the top of the Golden Boot race, but yet it was in Mexico again with the response. Akale has his fingerprints all over that first half. As Gloucester continues, he requires 3 players. That allows Harris to provide the width, and it's just a massive mistake for Hackshaw, but he needs to make a play in this ball. It's an uh-oh moment. And then Akale, 1v1. This time it's El Masnawi who gets beat, unable to move his feet. Reckless from the young midfielder. And Talon Maples, we've talked about how automatic he's been. That is 6 goals now for a center back, all from the spot. Peter Wilson creates his own luck with the run that comes centrally, and it's a great movement to cut off the path of Kalen Ryland, and that's his second great pen for Peter Wilson.
That put him on top of the Golden Boot chase with his 17th of the season, but Oakland just would not say die in this game, and Gaggi's first goal of the season leveled the match.
Gaguinho is what they call him in Oakland, and he makes that nickname proud. Shakes Jurgen Damm. Don't take kindly to who's going to bring the ball back to the center circle. All chaos ensues, but in the end, we split the points for the Oakland Roots and Benny Fayhopper. You need to be proud. Nothing to play for. You're not going to be in the postseason, so you could have easily came into this hostile environment and just laid an egg, but yet you fought for New Mexico. You need to start to figure things out defensively, because on the attack, you're scoring goals, but you're conceding far too much.
Another thriller in the Western Conference of the USL Championship. In this one tonight, New Mexico had a 3-1 lead early in the second half. Oakland comes back and gets the 3-3 draw in the end. And another instant classic in this wonderful USL Championship season. For Ricky Lopez, Espen, and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. We say so long from Albuquerque.